guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for July 2nd, 2023. So I am still getting over being sick. This has not been fun. It was just a cold, but you know what? I'm just not enjoying this. The spring has not been good for me. I've gotten sick every month for at least a weekend to a week, and I'm really kind of tired of it. But I'm feeling better. I just still have a cough, and so if I might sip on my coffee. I'm very depressed about my coffee, actually. So if anybody has any clues or has any recipes of how to easily make a blended like caramel coffee, you know, at home, please let me know. Or if you have a video about it. I've been looking online. Dutch Brothers jumped their prices up by like 70 cents on Wednesday. And I pretty much said, okay, I've reached my limit. I have to cut back. So I need to do more stuff at home. So, and to save money, because there's stuff I want to do next year, traveling wise, and I need more money. So I might as well cut back now. So if you have any good recipes or ways to blend up coffee, or have any good ideas, again, caramel is my favorite. I will do, you know, mocha or chocolate or something too, but my favorite is caramel. But you know, hey, whatever. If you have any options or anything that you do that's easy, we're just gonna deal with it. Today I did buy one because I had a free one on the app. So but it's gonna be not my go-to anymore, unfortunately, except for on holidays and sometimes on the weekends. Anyway, so let's talk about something else other than me being sick still. As I said, I'm feeling better. I still sound bad. There's Cooper, of course. So I did not do a video last week or for my weekly reading update because I was very sick and I couldn't have talked long enough to make a video. I wasn't until the middle of the week able to do my TBR for Austen July. So I am participating in that. So I will have that video linked below in case you want to go see my Austen July TBR. A lot of it's going to be mentioned here of the stuff I've already started because okay. So I did a video just before, which I probably will link before, talking about mood reading and how my mood is all over the place. I think this year is a very weird reading year, and I might have to do another kind of talking video about it at some point, chatty video. I did that video right before I got sick, and I had changed everything that I was reading. I DNF'd no, I didn't DNF. Okay, I put aside a lot of books. So I've done that thing now where I have probably about 7 or 8 books that I've started in the last few months that I've just put aside. And the ones that I put aside right after that mood reading chatty video is I put aside A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. I was listening to this on audio and I just couldn't do it. My reread A Big Bad Wolf by Slinka Snyder I put aside. I'm at 126 pages. Again, this is one of those ones where I have the second book, and this is not a favorite paranormal romance, and I do want to read it in order to move to the next one, but I was just having trouble getting through it. So I will get back to that reread so I can read the final book in the series. I did start an audiobook for Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, but at the time, the humor was just not hitting me, so I put this down as well, so that's going back on myself. I will probably read that physically at some point. We'll see what happens. And I did drop out of the Les Miserables read-along that was going on this summer. I don't know when I'm going to get back to this book. I am just not feeling this book right now. And I'm not going to force it because it's a massive classic. And I love classics, but I have to do them when I'm ready. And maybe I just jumped the gun on Les Mis. It's only 20 some years later since I was first going to read it, and I'm just not ready yet. So maybe later this year, maybe next year, maybe in a couple years. It doesn't matter. I have this really pretty edition. I'm not going to get rid of it. I have the audiobook as well. So at some point I might just get the itch to get back to this. But right at this point, Les Mis is off. I don't think I'm going to pick it up in at least the next few months for sure. Like, I don't think, because of the books I want to read in July and August, for sure, there's no way I'm going to pick up Les Mis. So that's kind of gone away now. So I kind of cleared off my decks in order to get my mood back and let myself mood read. And then So I'm still like in multiple books, and I keep changing back and forth, and I keep starting things and I'm putting them aside. So I'm still having trouble with it. What's really interesting is that, well, not interesting, it's kind of sad. So of course I'm taking part in Janellathon, which is put on by Rainy Day Reads and Libraries and Labradors. Oh, I hope I got that right. And they put a quick week-long readathon in honor of two Fonda books. Janelle, she passed away, and we had just found out about it last week. And again, I got sick, so I couldn't do anything about it. I would have done a video, and you know, because there's a lot of mysteries that I picked up because of her. So I did pick up, I did switch my reading around after I was well enough to read again. After my being, last weekend, I finished some books off that I was reading, and then I joined the readathon. Was from Monday the June 26th through Monday the 3rd. So I'm still reading stuff technically for Janellathon, because some of it now is Jane Austen July related, but it's a book that I learned about from her. So this is a really long intro. Sorry about that, but there's so many things going on right now. But I do want to just put out there that that I'm sad that Janelle has passed, and that again, I took part in the Janellathon just to get, read mysteries, because that was kind of the thing that we knew her for, and her enthusiasm and light of just being so happy about talking about books, especially when she loved. So anyway, so again, this whole 2 weeks has been kind of a roller coaster between finding out about that and then being sick, and and then my reading was already in turmoil at that point. Isn't he cute? Anyway, so again, I'm going to go through the books that I finished, which isn't really that many. I mean, well, they're okay for 2 weeks. It's a good size stack. And then I'm going to talk. Then I'm just going to list all the books that I'm in the middle of, because it's huge. And then the one book that I'm going to start later this week. This is okay. This is going to be a long video. Have you already can you tell? Yeah. Hopefully you guys like me rambling, because that's what today is clearly going to be. So, oh, it's not on, that isn't where I started. Anyway, where's my little cheat sheet? I had to write down everything that I wrote, because usually I remember within the week, but not this time, not with 2 weeks. So the first thing I finished on Tuesday the 20th was Off the Map by Alistair Bonton. So this is the book that I read, was one of my 6 nonfiction books I wanted to get to this year. It's a map book, so it's talking about places and that is kind of hidden places off the map and stuff. I swear I wrote this. Oh, that's right. There was a little joke in there. Sorry, there's one little tab. I'm like, why did I put that in there? I'm not gonna say that out loud. What that one's about. Anyway, the point is that this was just kind of the same thing as some of the other books I've read that are kind of maps. I read one called On the Map, and I read one called Islands of Abandonment. And so this one kind of is the same kind of deal, because it talks about lost spaces, invisible cities, forgotten islands, feral places, and what they tell us about the world. And so it was really interesting. There were certain places that I didn't know about. Some of them were duplicates from the other books that I've read. Again, I just love map books and seeing the world from a different perspective, because a lot of this is there are certain areas that there are reasons that nobody can go there is because of political reasons, or for environmental reasons, or just can't physically get there, or they're just lost to time, kind of thing. There's just a lot of different things in here. I thought it was really fun and light the chapters were really short, so it was easy to read. I did enjoy this one. As I said, I have a thing about map books that I buy these when, a lot of times I pick them up used at Powell's when my dad and I do our yearly trip, which again was one of the things when I got sick, I was not able to go. We did not go yet. So my dad and I haven't planned our trip yet, but I was depressed because I didn't get to go, as well as being sick. I couldn't go get books. Not that I have plenty of books. Don't worry. You'll see my book haul. Anyway, but usually I've picked up these all used at Powell's, like, at some, because I find them so fascinating, this nonfiction. So I did check off one on that list. I did enjoy this one. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if it's one of the ones I like enough to keep. I might not, but I did enjoy it, and I'm glad I've read that. So then I picked up, when I had my mood reading, I don't know if I talked about this or that. Is this what I talked about? I don't even remember what I talked about in that video. Sorry, I'm still not feeling well. Anyway, Aisha, The Return of She is the second book in the Aisha, or it's Asha is how it's spelled. Sorry, they give a little guide inside. The writer tells us how to say it. It's Asha instead of Aisha. I don't know why he says it that way. But anyway, by H. Rider Haggard. So this is the second book to the series. The first book, She, was published, I think is 1885, and then this one is 1905. So it's like 20 years later. So actually the story takes place about 17 or 18 years, I think it was close to that, after the first book. So it was really interesting how we didn't get the time jump. Like it was, he wrote the first novel, and then years later he wrote a sequel, but he made them older. And it was kind of interesting, anyway, the main characters. So we're following two men in this book. In the first book, we're following two men who go on an adventure into Africa, and they come across this hidden valley and hidden mountain where there is this woman who, I can't remember what the tagline is. She who must be obeyed. And they get kind of involved in this kind of secret world kind of thing, and things go catastrophic in the end. I loved She. It was just a great adventure story. I liked it better than King Solomon's Mines personally, but it was just fun. I really, really enjoyed it. So this one takes place, as I said, 17 years, I think, after, it's close to that, after the first book, and the two main guy characters in that book, it's kind of something, what they do afterwards. And this went in a direction I did not expect, and I didn't, it really just, it was so surprising, and I was kind of, I'm kind of curious to see what the other two books on this series are about, although I hear that they might be prequels. So, because the way this ends, I mean, it ends in a way that wraps up a lot of stuff from the first book in this book. I think it's a good duology. Like, I think it's going to be fine that way. But I am going to continue and read the other two books, because book 3 is called She and Alan. So it's an Alan Quatermain, or King Solomon's Mines, that guy. It's a book with them. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. And then I think another one, I'm not sure how it's related to this one, but there's a fourth book too. I have them, and I have the third and fourth book also in this edition. The first book I have in a different edition, but I really like these. Anyway, so I did read this. This was also on my 6 classics I wanted to read this year. So I ticked off one of those. Because again, as I said at the end, at one of my videos, I said that I looked at my list of books that I said I was going to read this year, and I hadn't done as well as I was hoping. So at least I checked off another one from that list, and I did really enjoy this. I didn't like it as well as She. I think there was some things in here that I was just, I mean, it's pretty far-fetched adventure, because they are in I mean, I don't know if they're actually in Tibet, but they're like in an area over there during part of this. They're in the mountains and things. Anyway, it's again an exotic location, and I did enjoy that, and I definitely will continue. I don't know if I'll get to She and Alan this year. I'm hoping to, but we'll see what happens. Then I did do a reread, and then because I just decided I wanted to reread the Dark Olympus series and try the audiobooks. I got the audiobook from my library, and I didn't write down the two narrators. Sorry about that. I was okay. Like, the narration was okay. I think, we'll see what happens. I got the Electric Idol as well to have as a reread at some point if I need to switch up my reading. It just as a backup. But I did enjoy this. This is, again, one of my favorites books because in this series is the Dark Olympus series. So it's kind of like a powerful people who rule Olympus, and they have their titles are from Greek mythology, and we're following Persephone, who is pretty much was kind of going to be Zeus's Hera, or he pretty much said, "You're going to marry me," kind of thing. And she runs into Hades, who is considered a myth because nobody has seen him in years because they think his family has died out. But actually, he's been ruling the lower part of the city across the river Styx. It's just a great concept. I just love this. Anyway, and I just love Persephone and Hades and this and the things that happen in here. I love Katie Robert, her books and her sexy times and things like that. I just really enjoyed this book, and I was glad to do the reread. Again, I think I read it 2 times last year. So I read it this year because I feel like I was ready for a reread. So I did the reread by audio this time, and it was just fun. I mean, again, it was just a fun thing when you're not feeling well that you pick up something that you've read before. So, okay. So then, so I finished that up. What did I finish? I finished that up on Monday. And so then I started reading books for Janellathon. And so I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I did start reading, get back to, the Lady Hardcastle mystery series by T.E. Kinsley. So I had read A Quiet Life in the Country, I think for March Mystery Madness. I think I did that this year. I think it was this year. I'm pretty sure I read it this year. Anyway, if it wasn't this year, it was last year. I don't know. I don't remember when I read it. Anyway, so, I must have, because I had it in my journal. So anyway, I must have read it in March Mystery Madness. And I bought the next 3 I think I had. There was a sale somewhere in March, April, or May that I bought them already. And I had the audiobook. The audiobooks are really well done. They're done by Elizabeth Noeldon. And so good. She does these so well. And I definitely recommend the audio for these mysteries. The characters are just so much fun. So we're following Lady Hardcastle, who has it's 1908 in the first books, and or at least in this book. I don't know maybe the first book was before that. Anyway, but it was really close to that. Anyway, so 1908, and she has moved. She has had a very exciting life. She was a diplomat's wife, and her husband passed away quite a few years ago. She's in her, I would say she's about 40 something, like 41. And she has her lady maid Flo, who is in her 30s. I don't remember. She's quite a bit younger, but anyway, or like 32 or something like that. She's like quite a bit younger. And they have had all these adventures to the east and Shanghai and stuff like that. Anyway, they've come back and they're living in the countryside and in this small little town. And so the first book, A Quiet Life in the Country, is them when they first get there and how things go. So I then, for Janellathon, I read 4 of the novels and 1 novella. So I read In the Market for Murder, which was, I really enjoyed that one. This is the only picture I could find of it, sorry. Death Around the Bend, which was, they actually traveled to another place to, what am I trying to say? They went to a country house, like a friend's house for, kind of not quite like a house party kind of thing. So that was kind of fun because, it's I said 1908, I think. So it was kind of interesting. The novella Christmas at the Grange. So timeline that actually goes in between book 4 and 5, but it was published after book 3. So I read it in that order. I didn't know until after I started it, which is fine. That was cute. That was just a cute little novella, as I said. A Picture of Murder is book number 4, and that one was to do with movie pictures and some actors and stuff that come to town. And then the last one I finished on the 30th of June was the burning issue of the day, which is book number 5. So I enjoyed this kind of the least of the mysteries. The mystery was okay, the way it was constructed. It was much more a longer timeline than the others. I think the other one, some of them had a couple weeks, but this one was like over a month. And I didn't like the way it dragged out a little bit. But I did love all the characters in here and all the interactions and stuff like that. It was still all the good stuff. was not my favorite of the series. So I would say my least favorite of the series so far. But I will continue on, but I have read enough of them in a row. This was what I did at work every day because I did a lot of I do a lot of computer work, and a lot of times when it's quiet in the shop, I'm able to listen to audiobooks while I'm doing all my work. And so I listened to a lot of this, and they were short enough that I could listen to a lot of it at work and then come home and like listen to the last hour or so at home after, during dinner and after dinner kind of thing. So I really enjoyed reading all those. And I definitely, now that, so I've read to book 5, and so I'm going to, I have 4 more that I just bought on audio. Okay, so I did the trick where you buy the ebook. Oh, I'm gonna have to take a drink. Sorry. I did the trick where you have to buy the ebook from Amazon, and then the audiobook will be cheaper. So I did that for the 4 that I just bought. So I still spent overall, I think about $20 for the 4 of those. So, whatever. But my library doesn't have them, and I definitely love the audiobooks. This is definitely a series that I recommend on audio. I think they're really, really well done. I'm sure they're fine in reading as well. It's just the humor of the audiobook narrator, Elizabeth Llewellyn, is just fantastic. I think she does flow in Lady Hardcastle just amazingly. So I do recommend those. Anyway, so as I said, I have those on standby. I'm hoping in in August, I can come back to it because there's other audiobooks I want to do in July that I might start putting those back into my other things I want to listen to, because the 10th book I think comes out in September. So I might pre-order that one. We'll see. Anyway, so I'm really enjoying that series. It's a great series. Again, we've been 1908, 09. Yeah, I think the last couple books were in 1809. So it was really cool. I think it just kind of goes they build on each other. So now I'm just going to briefly go through the books that I am listening to. I did start Mythos, the Greek myths retold by Stephen Fry. I'm about a third of the way through this, but I just needed a break. Just because I got sick, and so I stopped listening to audiobooks for a couple of days, and this one I still have it, so it's not like it's going anywhere. I own it. I do like it because Stephen Fry narrates it, and he's just fantastic. But I will get back to this. As I said, I got sick and I put it aside. So really quickly, some of the books I'm in the middle of, I still have Write It All Down. How to Put Your Life on the Page by Kathy Renzenbrink. So this one is a writing kind of book. So I'm going to be reading this a little bit here and there. Oh, hold on. I can hear a noise. Hold on. Sorry. It was just like a clunk in my dishwasher. Anyway, so Write It All Down. I will maybe read that a little bit here and there. We'll see what happens. I do still have a library book. Ghost Killer by Robin D. Owens. Again, this is a paranormal romance series that I'm in the middle of that I started this year. Book 3 is not going well for me. I'm not enjoying where it's at. I'm 85 pages in, and I just either need to start skimming to get myself through it or decide to abandon the series. Unfortunately, I bought the 4th and 5th book on audio because that was the only way I could get it. And because I thought, I'm going to finish this series out. Well, now I'm stuck in book 3. Anyway, so I'm hoping to finish this up maybe over this holiday weekend. For those of us in the US, I have the 4th off, but also right at the on Thursday I was told that I didn't need to come in on Monday. I mean, I'm taking a day no pay for it, but they were like, oh, there won't be anything for you to do. Nobody's going to be around. So I got an extra day without even planning on it. So I have a 4-day weekend. So I do have plenty of time to read. I'm hoping to get this done after maybe I finish one of my first books that I'll talk about in July. But I just need to get this done. This is, again, it's not that long. It's just was not calling to me. So we'll see. I need to get back to the library this next weekend. So I have a week. I want to get it done and decide if I'm going to continue the series. I mean, I've already bought the audiobooks, so I probably will listen to them or at least one of them. We'll see. But I need to get through that book. I think it's fine if I just push through, but we'll see. So anyway, again, it's a paranormal with she can see ghosts. She inherited the ability to see ghosts, and the aftermath of when that happens. A book that I started that I want to get back to later this month. I shouldn't have started it near the end of June before, July started. That is Death on Kumon Island by Shiichi Yokomizo. This is translated from the Japanese by Louise Heel Kwai. This was the 4th book that was published in English, but it is technically the 2nd book that was published when it first came out in Japan in 1948. So this is it's not historical. This is like Golden Age. Well, I would still say that was Golden Age. Maybe not. Maybe it's like just past that. But it was published in, as I said, 1948. The story takes place in 1946. And we're following a detective that was in the Hanjin murders, which took place, I think, in 1938 or something, like in the late 30s. Which is a really great lockroom mystery. This is different. This is him coming to an island with a message from a man who passed away. He was the first son of the family that rules this kind of shipping island or fishing community on this island. And I think things go wrong after he gets there, because he gets there and tells them, that the son has passed away, and it's, doesn't go well. Anyway, my point is that I read 36 pages of this. I really liked it, and right away was getting into it, except that I just read so many Mysteries of the Lady Hardcastle that my brain just went, oh, this is too much after all that. But I will come back to this. I'm hoping to get this done sometime in July. I'm going to slip it in between books. I just need a break right now. So so am I currently reading? I probably shouldn't have put it there, but it's already on the list, so whatever. So then, the last part I'm going to talk about real quick is Jane Austen July. So you guys, that is the video I did get up early this last week. That was the only one I could barely get myself to make, and because Jane Austen July is one of the readathons that I just adore every year. And this year I was like, oh, I'm not going to participate very much. I'll maybe read a book or two. No, by the time we got too close to July, I was like, I'm going to participate. And at least the first couple weeks, I hope to plan to get through a lot of this. Maybe by the end of the month, I'm definitely done and I will read other things. But I want to get through several things. And I've, of course, started many things. So Jane Austen July is put on by... Or is hosted by Katie at Books and Things, Marissa at Blatantly Bookish, and Claudia at Spinster's Library. So I've taken part in this, I think, in every year that it's happened. I'm pretty sure I was there at the beginning, but I'm not positive. I have to go back and look. I just keep forgetting. But I've done this many years in a row. There's a lot of these books, a lot of books that I've read during July's over the years that have just been fantastic books about Jane Austen, and as well as retellings, as well as history about that time period. So I was really excited. Of course, I have tons of books on my shelves that I still have to read that have to deal with Jane Austen. So I am doing one of the main 6 novels. I'm doing the group read of Northanger Abbey. Hold on, sorry. So this is a book that she was one of her first books that she wrote, but it wasn't published until after her death. Anyway, so I've only read this once. I actually read it in one of the first years of Jane Austen July. Sorry. Okay, sorry about the coughing fit. I tried to cut out the rest. So this was my last Jane Austen that I had not read. And I read it during one of the Jane Austen Julys. It might have been the first one that I participated in, or the second one. I don't remember. Anyway, so this is going to be my first reread of it. I did get the audio from Audible Plus, my membership from there. And it's a cast audio with Emma Thompson in the lead. And it's really good. I read the first 9 chapters yesterday, which... Then I went back and found out that I'm way ahead on the reading schedule, but yeah, whatever. They're doing it the first 10 days. It's the group read, as I said. So I'm just ahead already, so I don't have to listen to this every day. But the audio is really good. I might actually listen to another version of it maybe later in the month if I feel like it. I feel like I'm missing stuff, even though I mean, it is the story, but it's very dramatized. Like, it's very much a cast audio. And I don't always like those because I feel like I'm missing stuff because I'm not getting the descriptions of stuff. But anyway, as I said, for a reread, it's fine. But I got another one from Audible Plus that is the whole novel, so I might listen to that later this month. We'll see how I feel. So far, enjoying it. Again, we're following Catherine Morland, and she is going to Bath on her first kind of adventure at 17, and she goes with an older couple, and then she meets some young people there, and things kind of go from there. So it's kind of funny because she's very much into Gothic literature, and there's a whole mention of a lot of books in here, which are now my new reading list of what I want to read about horrible Gothic novel, or, not Gothic novels from that time period. So anyway, I really, so I'm enjoying my reread of that. So I'm going to continue that within this next week. I'm sure I'll get that done. And again, I said, I might re-listen to it again later with the actual novel, but we'll see. As I said, it's just fun for now. Maybe in another year or so I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. But it's not one of my favorites, so I'm hoping this will help elevate it because I am enjoying it more this time than the first time I read it. Because again, the first time, I don't think I got all the satire, but we'll see how it goes because it is kind of satire on the Gothic fiction and stuff. I did also start the audiobook on What Matters in Jane Austen by John Mullen, 20 Critical Problems Solved. So this is 20 chapters of taking a topic from Jane Austen and talking about it through all her 6 novels, as well as her novella, Lady Susan. So like, how much does age matter? What do characters call each other? What do Jane Austen's characters look like? He takes topics and then he talks about it in relation to like all the 6 main novels as well as Lady Susan. So don't read this if you have not finished all of Jane Austen. You will not understand half of his things, or it'll spoil you for like everything. Like within pages of the first chapter, you're already spoiled for like several of the books. So this is definitely for those people who have already read all of Jane Austen's main works. I am enjoying it this time around a lot more. I did read part of this a couple of years ago and it didn't click for me that day. I don't know, whatever. I read about 100 pages and then I put it down and I didn't come back to it. I'm about 80 pages in now. Really enjoying it this time around. I don't know if it's just that I'm much more ready for the literary criticism that's in here, but it really is hitting this time much better, and I'm getting a lot more out of it. I really find it fascinating. Again, Jane Austen is one of my favorite authors, and I have read everything by her except a few of her letters because I've read collections, but I haven't read the full entirety of her letters yet. That's another project for another year, not this year. But I am enjoying that. So that audiobook I'm listening to more actively than Northanger Abbey, only because I started one and then I started the other one. Anyway, and then the other nonfiction that I'm doing right now is The Social Life of Books by Abigail Williams. Reading Together in the 18th Century Home. So this is kind of talking about how books relate to the family home and how social it became during the 18th century, people reading out loud and how important that was, of how well you read out loud or where you read or what you read. And it's very interesting because it's definitely talking about different, all through that whole century. I know Jane Austen's only the very tail, the last 25 years of it, but I think it still counts towards Jane Austen July because it's talking about the Georgian period and that kind of stuff. Very fascinating so far. I'm only a couple chapters in. This is pretty academic. This is put out by Yale University Press, and it's pretty academic for me for nonfiction. And there's no audio, and so I have to read it physically. There's a lot of great pictures in here, and it talks about stuff and like different aspects of life during the 1700s, which I think is really fascinating. So this is really good. I just could only read a few pages at a time. I was going to try to do a chapter a day while I was on vacation, but it's just not going to work. So I'm going to try to do 10 pages a day like I planned so that I'd be done by the end of July. I'm hoping I started this at the end of June. because I wanted to get a head start on it because I knew it was going to be pretty dense. So I am going to work on that throughout the month. And then the last one I've started for Jane Austen July, because again I started that a little early, is I decided to revisit Sanditon. So, and the reason for this is because this is my last book for Janellathon. So I read the Sanditon partial. That was the novel that Jane Austen was working on when she passed away. So I read that a couple years ago in this bind up that I had, and I really was interested to see our series, because at that time the TV series had just started, and I was trying to figure out what the heck they were going to do with a partial. So now I kind of want to watch the TV show. Should I watch it? Let me know. Because I don't watch a lot of TV and miniseries. I could probably do that. Anyway, the point is that, or that TV show I might, because it's Jane Austen. We'll see. Anyway, let me know if I should watch Sanditon. Anyway, so I read that too. It was part of my, finishing up all the Jane Austen stuff that I had. But last year, I believe Janelle at Too Fond of Books talked about Sanditon by Jane Austen and Another Lady. So I found this book after she showed it. I think her copy is this copy too, because I think I got exactly the same one as she did. I can't remember. It was last year. Another Lady is actually Anne Telscombe. And in 1975, they published this novel as her interpretation of what happens after the partial that we have from Jane Austen. So I have it marked here. It's about 70 pages into this 310-page novel. 70 pages is what Jane Austen wrote. And then she just continues on. And it's really fascinating. I've only read 25 pages past that. I'm about 95 pages in. And she's already pulled some things that I, read in the first part and has pulled in and is weaving it in a different way. And I'm kind of curious to see how she does it. It's not going in the way that I might have plotted it as a writer for fun, Anyway, but the point is that I think it's interesting the choices she's made so far. They're not the ones I would have made. And I'm not sure what her reasoning is for those. So it's kind of fascinating to see this retelling or this continuation of this story from somebody else's point of view. So it's really interesting. So as I said, I'm not very far into it. I mean, I don't know, about a third of the way through the book, but 70 of those pages was Jane Austen, and then now I've about 25 pages of the new author. So I'm hoping today to get a lot of this done, if not complete it. Probably not complete it. I'll probably get pretty far into it. Because I'm hoping to be done by tomorrow, which is the last day of Janellathon. So I do want to get this done by then, just to finish up another book. Because I read the 4 novels and a novella, and then I'd like to read one more novel for that readathon. And I think I did pretty good for that. And as I said, I was already going to read this for Jane Austen July, and the fact that I definitely I'm glad that I decided to still read this after the news of Janelle, because again, I was going to read it anyway, but I definitely pushed it up. So I want to make sure that I read this right away. So that's why it's actually my priority read for the next day or so. So the only other book I'm going to show you here is the book that I'm going to start after that. So I might slip in Ghost Killer in the middle there just to get that done. I don't think I'm going to, and then again, my audiobooks will continue on. I'm not sure what audio I'll pick up after those two. I have a couple other history nonfictions to read that have to do with people in the Jane Austen's time period, so I will probably pick up those. And I think I have 1 or 2 from the library, or something that I could pick up. So we'll see what happens. The book that I want to pick up after Sanditon is The Mysteries of Udelpho by Anne Radcliffe. So this, I've read Anne Radcliffe almost every year that I've done Jane Austen July. I think there's 1 or 2 years I didn't. But I've read most of her stuff. I started with The Italian, and then I read a couple of her shorter novels. Most of her shorter novels. I still have this one and The Romance of the Forest to read of her completed work. I know there's a partial novel out there somewhere. I don't have that yet. But I have this and The Romance of the Forest, and I put this on my 6 classics to read this year, so I would make sure I read this and not read Romance of the Forest to put this off another year. This is the year I'm going to read Mysteries of Udelpho, because first of all, I'm rereading Northanger Abbey, which talks about it. And so that's kind of fun that way. But also because it's just one of those books that I feel like I should have already read, because I've read so much else of so many other of Anne Radcliffe's books. And I only picked up those ones because they were shorter, when this is the one that I've been meaning to read for years. So I really enjoyed The Italian again, and most of the short novels they're just all weird. And she writes in a very weird, gothic way. Everything is so dramatic, and everything just twists and turns in a way that is so unrealistic. And, they're just fun. I just said. So I'm really looking forward to this one, just because a lot of people have read this and really enjoyed it just for what it is, So I definitely want to this is one of those books I've been wanting to read for years, and this is the year I'm going to do it. And this week I will start this after I finish Sanditon. As I said, I might put a book in between this and Sanditon just to break up. This was published in 1794. So this is considered, somebody who was writing just before Jane Austen was. But she definitely read this kind of stuff because it mentions Udelpho in Mysteries of Udelpho in Northanger Abbey. And I'm sure it was just fun. So I just want to I'm hoping to really enjoy this. Again, it is very, very long though. It's it's over 600 pages. Oh my God, this print is teeny. Oh, I didn't see that. Well, we'll see what happens. I still want to read it. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's the book I'm going to pick up, and that's it. This is a long video, and I'm sorry about that, and with the break-in, or having to cut it here and there because of my coughing. So anyway, I hope you made it to the end. If you did, let me know if you're taking part in Jane Austen July. How is your reading going? How is your end of June? I don't know. Did you take part in Janellathon? I'm really glad I got so much done for that, considering I was still sick when I started, but I got quite a bit done, luckily, and I'm hoping to finish it out with one more book. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so later this week I should have a few videos up. I'm gonna have my book haul and probably my mid-year freakout tag. So we will get those done. Maybe a few other things next week. We'll see what goes on. So let me know how you're doing. Hopefully you are not sick. And we will talk to you guys later. And those in the US, happy 4th of July. Bye.